Yes, good morning, students. So now we are going to continue our chapter, that is a microorganism, a friend or a foe. In our previous class, what we did was first, let's recall it. Yes, we saw different types of microorganisms that are around us, and usually they were of five types. What were these five types of microorganisms? Yes, it was bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi, and viruses, right? And these were also the disease caused by them. Bacteria was causing which types of disease? Typhoid and tuberculosis. And we read about algae. What were the two types of algae that we saw the example of? Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra. Yes, what about the protozoa? Protozoa, what disease the protozoa was causing? Dysentery and malaria. Yes, and what about the fungi? What was it causing? The bread mold. Yes, you all are right. It was the bread mold. And then ringworms and athlete's foot. So these two diseases are also caused by the fungi. What about the virus? What disease is virus causing nowadays? COVID. And it also causes cold, flu, chickenpox, polio. So these are the different microorganisms and what diseases they cause, right? So now let's move on ahead and we will see some more recalling portion of the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, what all things we all learned now, and we also learned about the uses of the microorganism and which type of uses, the commercial uses. What was the commercial use? It was used as yeast in like in the baking factories or the baking industries, and here also it is used in making the jaggery also and alcohol also. So these are the different things that the microorganisms are used for. Okay, so now we will see some questions, okay, related to the topic that we read yesterday. Okay, so these are some of the questions. So now coming to the first question, which bacterium helps in the formation of curd? This is a very important question. That's why I've kept it in the recall section. So which one was the bacteria that helps in the formation of curd? You have to write your answers in the chat box. Okay, I will wait for 5 seconds and then we will discuss the answer. So yes, I can see that you are giving the right responses. It is lactobacillus. Yes, very good. So now coming to the second question, the process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is called which process? Nitrogen fixation, molding, fermentation, or infection. So which one is the right answer? Yes, you can write in the chat box. Okay, I'm getting right responses. So yes, it is fermentation. So now we will move on ahead to our today's topic. Okay, let's move on ahead. So before moving on, we will see some pictures, right? And then based on that pictures, we will see what our today's topic will be. So what can you observe in these pictures? That that the children are sick. Yes, very good. And what is happening to them? Yes, one is having a fever, right? Yes, in the first picture, we can see the girl is suffering from fever. Yes, what about the second picture? This one. She's also suffering from an headache, right? Headache. Okay. And what do you think? What is causing these things? Like fever is caused by, you just saw many different types of microorganisms. Yes. So these diseases are caused by microorganisms. Okay. So now you know that some diseases are caused by microorganisms, and you also saw one use of microorganism that was in commercial processes. So do you think these microorganisms are also used for making medicines? Yes or no? Okay, some are saying yes and some are saying no. Yes. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's move on ahead and you will see some more details now. And then your doubt will be clear on its own. And if it is not, then we will make it clear, right? So what we are going to do is, so now there is a question. Why do we take medicine? Like, why? What is the need of taking medicine? You can write your answers in the chat box. You can speak also if you want. And then we will continue. Then I will explain. Why do we take medicines? Yes, you are answering it correctly. Okay, we take medicines because it helps in curing the disease. Yes, right. Sometimes it lessens the pain. Yes, very good. Sometimes it lessens the pain also. Okay. So now from your answers, we can conclude that we should take medicine and it is a very important process. So medicines are very important. We got to learn from the answers that you gave. So as moving to the next slide, as here you can see some medicines are there. So where do you think we are getting these medicines from now? As you all know, medicines are important for curing the disease, but where we are getting from? Any answers from your side? Okay. Yes. Some are saying that we get it from factories. Okay, some factories. Some are saying we get it from the shops. Okay, shops. Yes, very good. So now we will see more details, like where we are getting these from, right? Okay. So we will see one of the type of medicines that we use very commonly. Okay, and in these, the microorganisms are there. So the source of medicines are microorganisms because microorganisms are used in making of these medicines. The medicines that kill or stop the growth of the disease causing microorganisms in our body is called as, what is that disease, what is that medicine called as? It is antibiotics. As you can see this spell, it is also written here, antibiotics. You must have heard this word a lot many times, antibiotics. So what is the function of antibiotics? That it helps in the killing or stopping the growth of the disease causing microorganisms in our body, right? Okay. The number of antibiotics are produced from bacteria and fungi. So from which microorganisms we are getting this antibiotics? From bacteria and from fungi. Yes, so these two microorganisms are giving us some useful medicines. So what are these two microorganisms again? You have to write your answers in the chat box. Bacteria and fungi. Yes, very good. So now we will see some more details about these medicines. Okay, so let's see some examples, right? The medicines which we use daily, in daily basis, we can see they're so common that we can see them around us. So one such medicine is streptomycin. You have to remember the name. Streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin are some of the commonly known as antibiotics, which are made from, what are it made from? Fungi and bacteria. So what are the three antibiotics that we discussed right now? It was streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin. So these are the three. And these pictures also you can see, they look like this and come in this type of packaging. So this was some more details and some more examples of the medicines that we use in our daily lives. So let's see some more details. So antibiotics are manufactured by growing specific microorganisms and are used to cure a variety of diseases, right? So these antibiotics are manufactured how? Like we are taking certain microorganisms, we are creating them first in the laboratories. We are creating certain microorganisms that are needed to make these antibiotics, and then these antibiotics are used for curing variety of diseases. Antibiotics are even mixed with the feed of livestock to check microbial infection in the animals. So this is also one of the function of antibiotics. And they are also used to control many plant diseases also. These antibiotics, they just don't cure human. They also cure animals. They also cure plants. Now we know these antibiotics are so important, not just for humans, but for animals and plants also. So now you all know what are the important functions of these antibiotics, right? Okay. So now we will move on ahead and see some more details. First, before moving on ahead, there is a curiosity question from my side. You have to just listen it carefully and then answer in the chat box. Right. So now you have to come up with some daily life examples where the medicinal use of microorganisms can be seen. Any one or two? Yes, as we just read right now, where it was used. Yes, fungi and bacteria were used to make antibiotics. Yes, and what was the name of the antibiotics that we use commonly? Streptomycin. Yes, streptomycin was the common name. Okay. Yes, you all are right. So now we will move on ahead and see some questions. So coming to the first question, you can write your answers in the chat box. The following is an antibiotic. So which one of them is an antibiotic? Sodium bicarbonate, streptomycin, alcohol, or yeast? So which one of them is an antibiotic? You have to remember this word antibiotic. So we will wait for 5 seconds and then I will tell you the correct answers. Okay, yes. Yes, you all answered it correctly. It is streptomycin. We just discussed right now. Okay, so the antibiotics mixed with the feed of livestock, with the feed of the livestock to help check microbial infection is in human beings, right? So this is the right answer. So, sorry, it will not be human being. What will it be? It will be animals. Yes, because it is used in the livestock. So this was the right answer. Okay. So now we will move on ahead and see some more details about. So just now we read about antibiotics, right? And now coming to our second topic for today. So we will see some pictures and then we will introduce our topic. Okay. So coming to these pictures, now tell me, how many of you have been given the polio vaccine when you were a small child? Okay, you can type yes if you were given in the chat box. So yes, I can see the responses that almost like all of you have been given this vaccine, right? It is good to know. Yes, very good. Okay. Okay. And how many of you got vaccinated for COVID vaccine? You also have to say yes if you got vaccinated. Yes or no? Yes, very good. Okay, yes. Yes, and did your parents also get vaccinated or not? If yes, then you have to type yes in the chat box. Okay. Yes, I can see most of you responded in a yes. That means it is a good news. Right. So now we will move on ahead and see some more details about which word I was using while I was like telling you, describing these two pictures for you. Yes. Vaccinated, right? Yes, you all answered it correctly. I was using the word vaccinated. Now coming to the next slide, my question now is, why do you think children vaccinated with polio drop do not get polio ever again, but those who have not been vaccinated get affected with the polio? So why do you think we are taking these vaccines? Yes, now you have to share your answers in the chat box. Okay. Yes, I'm getting the right response. Because it develops the immunity in them. Someone said yes, that is the right answer. It develops immunity. That's why the the vaccinated person is not getting that disease again. Yes, very good. Yes, what else? Okay. Yes, you all responded correctly. So now we will see the exact definition of what a vaccine is. So what is a vaccine? It is a fluid medicine, right? A fluid medicine, not a hard medicine. It is a fluid medicine that helps our body to become immune to a disease caused by certain germs. So this is the main function of the vaccine, right? So let's see what else we can see, some more information about vaccine. We will move on ahead. Okay. So now we will discuss like how this vaccine is working, right? In the second slide, we will discuss the working of the vaccine. Okay, let me first delete. Okay, so what happens is now we will discuss about how the vaccine works. Like when a disease carrying microbe, right? When a disease carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies. As you can see here, the body has produced these antibodies, and these antibodies, what they do is they fight the invader. Invader here is the microorganism that entered our body, harmful microorganism, right? The body also remembers how to fight the microbe if it enters again. If dead or weakened, microbes are introduced into a healthy body. The body fights and kills the invaded bacteria by producing some suitable antibodies. The antibodies then remain, that they remain in the body, and we are protected from the disease causing microbes. So this is the process how our body is protected when we take a vaccine, right? So this is how like a vaccine works. Like several diseases, including the cholera is there, and what else? Tuberculosis is there, and then smallpox, hepatitis. These can be prevented. All these diseases, they can be prevented with a simple measure, that is by taking vaccine. And these days vaccines are made on large scale, like not only one or two vaccines are available, but they are made in large scale, so it is also very easily available, right? Made on large scales from microorganisms to like it protects humans and animals from these such deadly diseases. And one of the biggest example of mass production of these vaccines is we are usually using it right now also. Which disease is going on? Yes, this was all about the, yes. So which vaccine did we use right now in the COVID period? It was, yes, Covaxin and Covishield. So these two were the main vaccines that we used during the COVID period. So this is also one of the example of the vaccines that we are using, right? Okay, so now we will move on ahead, and we will, now comes the curiosity question. That is, what you have to do is you have to find out the pulse polio program, about pulse polio program, and what was its main function, what was its main motto, and then you have to write your answers in the chat box, and we will discuss it in the next class. Okay, so now we will move on ahead. Let's see some questions related to the topic we just did. Which topic did we did right now? We did about vaccines and what is the use of vaccine. So now question. When a disease carrying microbe enters our body and body produces dash to fight the invaders. So what does the body produce? Antibodies or antigens? I will give you 5 seconds and then we will discuss the right answers. Okay, you can write the answers in the chat box till then. So yes, I can see most of you answered the correct answer. It is antibodies. Yes. So now I think you all are clear with the concept, right? Okay. So if you have any doubt, we will wait for 5 seconds for you to question. And then if not, we will move on to our next topic for today. Okay, I will wait for 5 seconds. You can answer, you can question in the chat box till then. Okay, so I think there is no doubt. Okay, so now we will move on ahead. And okay, so like, have you ever wondered like how these medicines were made first? Right now it is very easy, but how were they made first? And by who were they made? And how and which place were they made? Any such questions? Does these question arises or not? Okay. Yes, but you do not know it. Okay, it's fine to not know. So now, oh, what would happen? Now, coming to the second question, what would happen if any medicine or vaccine would not have been discovered? Like, just taking the simple case of present, what would happen if the Covishield and Covaxin would not have been like discovered? What would have happened then? Okay, it would have been disastrous. You can write your answers in the chat box. Yes, it would have been disastrous. The COVID, we would have suffered from COVID a lot. Yes, many people didn't get affected, but they would also have been got affected by this COVID. Yes, very good. So yes, you all answered it correctly. So moving on ahead, we will see who discovered and who played a major role in the vaccine formation or these medicines formation or these vaccines, right? So yes, there is the Alexander Fleming. He was a great scientist, and which medicine he used, we will see. Okay. So in 1929, Alexander Fleming was working on a culture of disease-causing bacteria. Suddenly, he found the spores of a little green mold that is on the bread, right? That green mold in one of his culture plates. He observed that the presence of mold prevented the growth of bacteria. In fact, it also killed many of these bacteria. From this the mold penicillin was prepared. So now you know how penicillin was prepared, as penicillin is a very important medicine used in nowadays. Yes. Okay. So now we just saw the importance of penicillin and how we got this penicillin. And who was the scientist who discovered this penicillin? Was Alexander Fleming. Okay. So who was Edward Jenner and what he did? Let's see. Edward Jenner was the one who discovered the concept of vaccine. He first developed a vaccine for smallpox in 1789. It was too earlier, right? Was very early, but he discovered, thanks to him, that we have many vaccines today and we have overcome so many diseases, right? Yes, so this was all about the information on vaccines. So now what you have to do is, now comes the curiosity question. What you have to do is you have to read the biographies of both of these scientists, right? Like Alexander Fleming and Edward Jenner, and you have to write two points, like what you found interesting in their stories, in their life stories. Anything, two points you just have to write in the comment box below, and then we will discuss it in the next class. That what you found interesting. Now coming to the question part, let's see. So when was penicillin discovered? In which date was it discovered? As you can see here, this was yes, in this. When was the penicillin discovered? In which date? Yes. Which year now? Yes, it was in 1929. Okay. Someone would have a doubt. Now it became clear, right? Okay. So now coming to the recapitulation part. Okay. Now coming to the recapitulation part. Today we studied about how these microorganisms can be used how helpful in medicinal uses, right? So what were the two medicinal uses where these microorganisms were used? First was antibiotics and second was vaccines, right? Okay, so antibiotics are what? What are antibiotics? Antibiotics are the medicines that kill or stop the growth of disease-causing organisms. An example of antibiotics is penicillin, streptomycin, and tetracycline. And who was the one who discovered penicillin? It was Alexander Fleming. And in which date? 1929. And who was the person who discovered vaccine? Edward Jenner. And for which disease he discovered the vaccine? Smallpox, and in 1798. And what are vaccines now? Medicines that help our body to become immune to a disease caused by certain germs. Like vaccines are, some examples of vaccines are polio vaccine, Covaxin, and Covishield. So this was all about today's class. Now coming on to the homework part. What you have to do is, okay, so this is a tabulate, where you have to tabulate the differences between antibiotics and vaccine with appropriate examples, like the definition and what it is made for and examples, right? And then comes the homework. So these are the questions and you have to solve these questions, and then I will ask you like answers for these questions in the next class. Okay, so now we will end our class here. If you have any doubts, you can ask, and then we will clear it. And if not, then we will end our class. Okay. So I think you all have no doubts. So, okay, so now I will be ending my class here. Thank you everyone for attending, and now we will meet in our next class.